1, 2, 3.
Greetings, fans. As you can see, the whole Insider crew is back. I'm Jay Beaman, joined by play-by-play analyst Drew Xzono Jr. and Insider correspondent Tito McGee. Stage 3 is only a couple of weeks away, October 25th, Tri-City YMCA, Granite City, Illinois. We got another great double main event featuring Makazi of the Blacklist versus Stephen Kennedy of the Resurgence, along with Matt Fitchett versus Christian Rose. Guys, no team is statistically eliminated, and I'm kind of a fan of long shots, kind of like the long shots. And we really didn't like this team last go-around, but I'm picking Team Anarchy because Davey Vega is a better leader than Pierre Abernathy, and he is now in place as the captain for Team Anarchy. He's 1-0 in the PWCS, and in that one match, he survived the Asiatic spike from Jake Durden. That's a big deal. Since the submission squad is not going to be involved for Stage 3, they have found the Viking War Party as a replacement. And I know that all four of these guys, they're friends. They hang out, they go to the bar, hang out, drink. Well, Vega doesn't drink, but some of them drink. And I feel like they've got a great matchup because the Ego Busters are reeling. The scoreboard shows that they're 5-1, but that one loss and Greg Jovi going in the pool has them completely confused and disorganized. And I don't think Greg Jovi can put his team above himself. I think he's more interested in saving face.
Well, you know, at any time, of course, as we've heard throughout our couple of DVDs, I'm not afraid to criticize Greg Jovi, but you have to give him credit. His team has not only won, but they've won admittedly in impressive fashion at times, and by impressive I mean the ability to dupe a referee, if you will, and no one swept them yet. And they need this clean sweep to get through this whole kind of phase of, wow, we want to be in, for the championship. They kind of dropped the ball the first two, and they have to go against the Ego Busters, who have not dropped any balls. You know,
Drew's right. Team Anarchy needs a clean sweep. They need to go 3-0 at Stage 3, and they need help. They can't do this by themselves. They need a win from the Blacklist to give them a shot at the championship. But I think Davey Vega can pull this team together and get it done.
I definitely think the Team Anarchy can make it to the finals too, and like you said, they do need help from the Blacklist. My pick is the Blacklist because they're the 1 and the 5-1 of the Ego Busters. Jojo Bravo, a little man, did a big task. He put the Ego Busters in their place, and it's not going to his head. He's being very humble about it, and he's not, being, I'm a big shot now. He did something that no one else in the PWCS can do. Also, they have a lot of momentum behind them. They're in second place. Stage 1 and Stage 2, the Blacklist was standing tall. And then also, favorable matchups. Makazi's looking good and leading by example. Outcast can outmatch Everett Connors. And then, of course, Jojo Bravo did the big task of beating the Ego Busters. Now he has another big task in front of him. He has to face Jake Durden of the Resurgence. And I believe Bravo can surprise Jake Durden.
So what you're saying is that Anarchy is going to get in purely because of the Blacklist ability to, as you said, have very favorable matchups. Is that what you're basically predicting?
Yes.
Fair to say? Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to have to disagree with you, but that's fine. I'm going to have my pick, and I guess we can announce it now. The Resurgence, and they've gotten a little bit better each time. And I think you kind of watch their matches and the way that they've been able to kind of grow around and rally around Kennedy. Now, Kennedy himself, they can rally around him all they want because of his veteran presence and his experience. The question is, can they go 3-0? Because Kennedy's been kind of juggling around the roster. He's not kind of setting in on it. He's not kind of got something where he's set in yet. And I think there's something to be said about team unity, especially when you talk about playoffs in any sport. You start kind of throwing around rosters, it can hurt you adversely, but I think he's doing okay with it. And the reason why is because he's got a very desperate big man. You know, you talked about the little man, Jojo Bravo. A desperate Jake Durden is not one that you want to see. He's big, he's mean, he's nasty, and we saw him in Stage 2 really outside of, it was a surprising win, use that physicality to his advantage. He's one of the faster big men in the St. Louis area, if not the entire Midwest. He's a guy who's desperate for a win, lost for the first time in nearly 4 months. So if Durden can help carry the load a little bit, it's a matter now of their fourth man. And really, has Rocket recovered in time for the match? That's going to be a good question. Is it going to be maybe Bolt Brady from Stage 1? Are we going to see him come back? So they still have to figure out this roster a little bit. But I think with Kennedy's leadership, if he can continue to improve on that and continue to motivate with a roster that's a little bit more set in, I have a feeling the resurgence could really surprise people here in Stage 3.
Yeah, and I kind of feel like Kennedy's tinkering a little too much. I feel like he should have. Granted, there's nothing he could do about Rocket's injury. It just happened 3 or 4 weeks ago. But all the other teams kind of have their roster set, and they kind of know what direction they're going in. And that's how it should be at Stage 3 when the championship is coming up. The championship is on the line. I don't think they're going to gel. If they advance, if they go 3-0, and if they can advance to the championship, I don't think they will be gelled in time to make an impact in the championship.
Because with something like that, it takes a while to get traction underneath the team, and of course the Resurgence has had a hard time getting that traction. And like you said, the championship is coming up, and this is the time where you need that traction.
Well, and sometimes though too, you have to remember a good coach knows when to cut the dead weight. And if in any leader in any sport, if you're able to cut the dead weight, you know, you only have the best in your mind, and that will motivate people too, because it might make you want to perform better. Because if you know that you lose, hey, you're gone. You're out of here. I think there is something to be said about rosters changing. Historically speaking, yes, and I had mentioned it before, chemistry is a big thing. But if you have someone who you can rally around and someone who you trust to make the right decision, you'd be surprised at how big of a motivating factor that could be.
And he's done a good job cutting dead weight because Billy McNeil was on his team. And Stage 1, Stage 2, he did not follow through, so he had to cut the dead weight.
Hotly debated here at the desk. I'm sure these matches will also be hotly contested. So the Resurgence versus the Blacklist, October 25th at Stage 3. That includes Jojo Bravo versus Jake Durden, as we've said. Everett Connors takes on Outcast, and the team captains collide. It's Stephen Kennedy versus Makazi. One last question before we go, guys. Nobody picked the Ego Busters. Do we see them completely losing momentum and falling out of the championship hunt? Or is it just a foregone conclusion that they'll advance? They only need one win to advance. So, is it just destiny that they go in? Drew, I'll go to you first.
Yeah, there's no way, I think, with Joe Vi and all the experience that he has and his ability, again, to circumvent officiating and circumvent our officials and all of the things from above, his roster is too talented not to advance. I have a feeling that he can buy his way into a championship. He probably will. Mainly because I think we've seen inconsistency from the other three teams, regardless if they've lost the matches clean or not. Whether there's been a bad officiating or not, however you want to describe it, it's talent's ultimately going to shine through. And unfortunately, for a part-time, partial shareholder who's got all the money, he's got some controlling interest, invested interest. I can see, maybe not in the best way, but there's no way we will not see the Ego Busters come January.
Tito?
I think that the Ego Busters will be in the finals, and even though they're first, even though that point, Joe Vi is going to be desperate because his image is now hurt. He has one loss. So
he also went in the swimming pool.
That's true.
I think we'll make sure that door's locked.
His ego has been busted from Stage 2. And with Anarchy being very disorganized and all the stuff going on in their team, he's going to take advantage of that. He's going to be very desperate. So the Team Anarchy needs to keep their eye on the Ego Busters because Joe Vi is going to try every trick in the book to get that victory.
Sounds good, guys. We're just a couple weeks away. River's Edge Bar and Grill presents PWCS Stage 3, 7 p.m. on October 25th at the Tri-City YMCA in Granite City, Illinois. Doors open at 6:30. You can buy tickets now at our brownpapertickets.com event listing or at Game Busters on Madison Avenue. Join us October 25th for the Viking War Party versus Gary J. and Dan Walsh, Brandon Espinosa versus Davey Vega, and our main event, Christian Rose of the Ego Busters versus Matt Fitchett of Team Anarchy. We'll see you at Stage 3.